we go, folks. That's right, folks. That's right. Normally this would be where we play the intro, but I don't have it ready, do I? So here we go. This is what we're doing. This is where we are. This is who we are.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Forrest is having major tech issues. But
yeah.
Kev, Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome. Normally have a whole recorded intro. It's like really professional. Forrest puts a lot of effort into it, and we speak his name, but right now I can't freaking find it. So okay, we are F it doing it live. Scott, welcome to the show, first timer. Kev, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you back. I'm glad that we are covering yet another installment of the Insane Cinema That Is Insane with Annette by Leo's Carax. That also collaboration with the great band Sparks. Fantastic. This is always one of my, when people say Conan Neutron, you don't like musicals. I'm like, I like Annette.
Yeah, but still, you don't like musicals. I like.
I don't like a lot of musicals, but I do like Annette very much, and I'm very pleased to be talking about it tonight with both you guys. Welcome back, Kev. Let's start with you. You're the returning champion. So, what was your first experience with Annette? I think it's a pretty good one.
Thanks. Yeah, great to be back. I experienced this. I love musicals. I love all sorts of musicals. I love popular musicals, not popular musicals, weird musicals. My least favorite musicals are boring musicals, and Annette is certainly not one of them, despite what maybe people may have heard. The first time I saw Annette was opening weekend, July 2021 at the IFC Center here in New York. And I had seen the Sparks documentary. It was like the first new movie I'd seen after the initial COVID lockdown. And Annette was the third, and then Fast 9 was the one.
Which one of these things is not like the other?
Yeah, great. Which is like basically my taste in movies in a nutshell, right? Fascinating documentary, the one where the car jumps, swings on a vine and goes to space, and Annette.
Yeah, and that's the Sparks documentary, of course, directed by Edgar Wright. I would call that one of the great modern documentaries. It's very involved, but it does what a lot of music documentaries should do. That makes you want to be like, wow, I'm really interested in hearing more about this band now and hearing from them, listening to their music. So kind of front load. I think it's even Annette, even though they came out around the same time. I think it's even in the back end of the documentary. Kind of shows like some making of scenes, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, it came out within weeks of each other. So yeah, it was like the summer of Sparks for me. I had gotten into them through the record. What is it? Gratuitous Sax and Senseless Violins.
Gratuitous Sax and Senseless Violins.
If you're watching on video, my nickname is Feeling Like Sinatra in tribute to When Do I Get to Sing My Way, my favorite Sparks song.
Fantastic.
But that summer was the summer I got into them big because of that documentary, The Sparks Brothers. You know, a lot of these documentaries, it's like you go into it as a diehard fan of the subject, and then you're like, where's this? Where's that? Sparks Brothers, first of all, 2.5 hour long documentary about anything is ambitious, but I do feel like he did a great job of wrapping his arms around all of it. and how frustrating it can be sometimes to be a fan of them because they never stop innovating.
Right. They really don't. And they put, I think, 4 records now since Annette came out, which is crazy. And they're all really good too. They're very consistent, in my humble opinion. As a huge fan of the band Sparks, which Edgar Wright very accurately said is your favorite band's favorite band, because
That's right.
everyone I know that plays in bands loves Sparks because they're just relentlessly creative and so on and so on. Scott, host of Big White Elephants, the new musical podcast sweeping the nation. Tell me yours, Annette experience.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I more know about Sparks like as a reputation than have ever really gotten into them, and it's not a Sparks thing, it's just a me thing of not really making the time. So I heard about this but didn't get to it in theaters. I watched it for the first time, I think maybe on New Year's Eve or close to it, because I was doing my sort of like catch up on all the movies I missed this year so that I can finalize my list sort of thing. And I think I had COVID at the time, and I'm pretty sure I watched it like back to back with Titan, another crazy French movie. So it was an intense day.
Wow.
But the whole time I was like, holy crap, like this movie is so insane. And I think
you feel like you're heavily medicated even when you're not.
Exactly.
When you're watching those movies.
And so being in that headspace already, and I think my Letterboxd review is like, wow, I want to rewatch this immediately. And then I didn't until this weekend when, we were preparing to watch it, which I regret. I wish this was like my 10th time seeing this movie, because there's so much going on, and so much of it is like so interesting that I feel like you need to just keep watching it to really untangle a lot of the stuff going on. Or maybe it's all bullshit. I don't know.
No, I would back that. It definitely does reward multiple viewings. When I first watched it, I was like, did I like that? I feel like that was awesome, but I'm kind of questioning that. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, actually, that kind of ruled. Those are huge swings.
It's like the opposite effect of Amelia Perez. It's like, did I like that? And then you watch it again, you're like, oh yeah, I hated it.
Well, I mean, I think it's something that it's hard not to have it come up in this conversation, because it is another like very well respected French auteur making this very big swing musical. And Kev and I saw Amelia Perez at New York Film Festival together, which was like before the
Oscar hype.
It was it was before Oscar hype. It was still like so our initial reactions were both like, wow, big swing, that was cool, because we weren't really like sucked into the whole discourse. We also weren't thinking of like, this is an Oscar frontrunner, right? It was,
of course not.
It was like crazy ass weird movie I just saw at 10 a.m. in the morning.
So on that, right. I'd play the clip. Well, why not? We can take the time.
Yes.
There we go. I saw it fairly early on.
No.
There we go. He's there. He's back. He's back. Hey, Forrest, everybody.
I did literally, and this is true, nothing, and it just seems to work.
There you go. You did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. You're punished for it.
By the way, I have an intro if you want.
I know you do. I couldn't find it at the moment. Let me finish this thought. We can run it real quick. When I saw Amelia Perez at first, the first thing I thought of was like, is this? I was like, Mrs. Doubtfire plus Annette, and then I was like, insult. Because the further I got away from Amelia Perez, the more I disliked it personally.
Yes,
and that was. Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do want to be clear, and maybe Scott, you can agree. The vibe that I had coming out of Amelia Perez was basically like being shot out of a cannon into a brick wall.
Yeah.
Like, whoa! It was more of like a like a shock, a physical shock of like, huh?
But I do feel like stylistically.
And then we watched Queer by Guadagnino, and then is there a third? I stayed for Nickel Boys. That was
you did.
Yeah. Ew. Well, okay. So I feel like, and we'll run the intro as it should have been. But I call that early, and I call that before most people were even like dogging on that movie, because I was just baffled by it. But I also feel like it's like, it was like, I want to do something like Annette, but not have the Leos Carax like weird big heart and like things that shouldn't work somehow manage to work, and it weaves together in a way that's like interesting and instead of just perplexing. And like, why did you do that? Because the more away, and I want to speak about the movie that shall not be named as little as possible, ironically, but it just seemed like it was like, let's take all the most facile aspects of this and let's do something that will win some awards is what it felt like to me. And did most of those things unsuccessfully, where you can say what you will about Annette. I feel like it's very successful at the many things that it does try, which you wouldn't think would fit together. And that's my personal opinion. We can come back to it. Forrest, you want to run the intro 10 minutes late, but you know.
Yeah, I mean,
I couldn't find it. Sorry. I didn't.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, it didn't.
We kind of already introed everybody, but it's all good. Yeah, we'll fix it in post.
The music resounds and all the flames are lit. So ladies and gents, please shut up and sit. The curtains of our eyelids lazily rise. But where's the stage, you wonder? Is it outside?
Of all the genres we've covered on the show, we've probably done the least musicals out of any genre, except possibly Westerns. It's hard to find a musical that we all like and are willing to talk about. We've done previous episodes on Sweeney Todd, Little Shop of Horrors, Wicked, and we did a speed round on Emilia Perez. Tonight we have another one of those very eccentric dark musicals. Really, watching this movie, I felt like it's what Emilia Perez was aiming for, but completely missed the mark on.
What is that?
Adam's apple reduction.
Yes.
Leos Carax, English language directorial debut, Annette, a 2021 rock opera starring Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard, about a misogynistic and abusive stand-up comedian named Henry McHenry, who gets engaged to an opera singer named Anne.
We love each other so much. We're scoffing at logic. This wasn't the plan.
And they have a child, Annette, who is a wooden puppet. Having a child causes Henry to stay home and his career to suffer, while Anne soars due to her incredible voice. On a cruise ship during a storm, a drunken Henry grabs Anne and begins violently waltzing with her, and she falls overboard and drowns and promises to use her voice to haunt Henry for the rest of his life.
There's so little I can do. So little I can do. There's so little I can do. So little.
When they get home with Henry, a newly widowed father, he discovers to his amazement and dismay that Annette, who is still a wooden baby, has her mother's voice. He immediately begins trying to take the baby on the road.
Amazing. It's really happening. She sings. She's a miracle. When the light shines on her.
With Anne's former accompanist, who was in love with her, played by Simon Halberg, exploiting his own child on stage while growing increasingly violent and erratic. Until a confrontation with the accompanist and another violent outburst caused Henry's life and freedom to collapse on him. Leos Carax has pretty much exclusively worked in French until Annette. Taking a page from French New Wave directors like Godard and Truffaut, he got his start as a film critic and short film director before making his feature debut in 1984. With Boy Meets Girl, about an aspiring filmmaker and a suicidal girl who fall in love after both going through breakups.
Vous ne savez plus du tout vous parler. Vous pensez peut-être que les gens ne méritent pas qu'on leur parle.
Non, c'est pas ça.
Vous avez tort. Peut-être vous avez peur. Il vous demande, aimez-vous le cinéma?
In films like Pola X and The Lovers on the Bridge, Carax would focus on depictions of tortured love. He also worked with Michel Gondry and Bong Joon-ho on the film Tokyo, an anthology piece with 3 segments that take place in Tokyo. And then the 2012 surrealist piece, Holy Motors, which is a man named Oscar going to 9 appointments, and each one transforming into different characters to analyze and criticize the state of filmmaking.
Beauty. 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 Beauty.
Most of Carax's French language film star Denis Lavant, an acrobat and mime who's known for taking on physically demanding roles. Annette is the second film that Carax has made that doesn't have Lavant in it. He traded him for the physically imposing presence of Adam Driver.
I wonder if you saw some kind of continuity between him and your previous, if I could call him muse, Denis Lavant. I feel like they both have this kind of physicality that you make really good use of.
I did see, I mean, yeah, I did think of, and actually, I've made a few films, but I've always filmed only two actors before Adam, this actor Denis Lavant and Guillaume Depardieu in one film.
Pola X.
Yeah, and I see with both of them in very different ways. But for sure with Denis, yeah. You can, if they're not moving, you can really film them as a sculpture, and if they do move, you can film them as a dancer. Also, they have that, what I like, but I don't know the word in English, so they're a bit monkeys. They're a bit like monkeys, but I love monkeys, so it's not...
Compliment.
The music and story for Annette was written by Ron and Russell Mael, who performed together as the pop duo Sparks. The project goes all the way back to 2017, being delayed for 2 years for Adam Driver to do Star Wars. It filmed throughout 2019, concluding in November. Getting it set actually took so long that Michelle Williams and Rooney Mara were both cast as the Anne role and then each had to bow out, leading to the casting of Marion Cotillard. Filmed as a co-production between France, Germany, Switzerland, Belgium, the US, Mexico, and Japan, it finally premiered at Cannes in 2021, getting Carax the Best Director award.
Now you have nothing to love.
Can't I love you, Annette?
No, not really, Daddy. It's sad, but it's true.
Before I introduce the panel, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Then hit that bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. Super chats are now open. If you have any pressing questions, send us a super chat, which helps me maintain the expenses for the show, which I am obligated by the rules of the Geneva Convention to stop everything and ask the panel. Another way to help us out is to become a patron and give us money every month. In exchange, you get access to all of our after parties, bonus content, and we'll tell you even more movies we watched recently. Patreon.com/Movie Night Extra. We have a Movie Night Extravaganza Discord. There's an invite link in the episode description, and we have a Letterboxd HQ account. So those are two more places to follow along with us. Okay, let me introduce the illustrious panel. We are live right now on This Space. If you aren't following them, join This Space TV on YouTube. Link below. Conan Neutron is the co-host and senior producer for Movie Night Extravaganza, host of Protonic Reversal, an independent Film Critics of America film critic, and the frontman for the band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Check out his music at neutronfriends.bandcamp.com. Kristina Oakes is a co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, a streamer on Twitch, twitch.tv/cosmopolitics, a host at This Space, hosting Kristina's Corner, and is across social media at Cosmopolitics and on Letterboxd at Christina. Scott Interrante is the co-host of Big White Elephants, a weekly podcast about movie musicals, as well as This Is the Greatest Song I've Ever Heard in My Entire Life, and is on Letterboxd and Blue Sky at Scott Interrante. Kev Reilly is the host of both the Austin Danger podcast with Mackenzie Wilkes and Ammonite Movie Night. I, of course, am your host and a little wooden boy, Forrest Miller, to make you notice what you've always surely noticed, never noticing you noticed, until I ask you, have you ever noticed? Sure, but not only that.
There you go. There you go. All right.
That was great.
There you go. That's the intro, everybody. So, Kristina, noted musical lover, our chief musical correspondent, Movie Night Extravaganza. You had not seen Annette previously, correct?
No, I made it actually when I saw Amelia Perez, I'm like, is there anything that's better from this guy? And then I found Annette.
I mean, it feels like it would be, it feels like it would be the same. There was the woman who claims to be the music director, much to the annoyance of Ron Mael, it was the same musical director for Amelia Perez. That's the only crossover. But Rob Bales is like, yeah, that's BS. I did all the work.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? This is better. This has everything, like 80s sounding power ballads. Adam Driver with long hair. You know.
Yeah, the Henry McHenry character.
Howard, like from Simon. He became a French citizen for this role. Like, that's how dedicated he wanted to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Because they have a certain. That's right. Because in order to get
quota
funding, you have to have a certain amount of French actors, right?
But when Marion got involved, it kind of filled that quota. They're like, okay, we're good. We don't need anybody else.
We didn't need you to become a citizen after all, Adam. But hey, good taking one for the team there.
So she knows what's like the lip sync. I mean, she won the Oscar for playing. God, who was that name? That's that one singer. Who did like La Vie en Rose?
Edith Piaf.
Yeah, right. She actually learned how to actually like lip sync, so it looked like her throat was like she was actually singing. So she probably did, from what like she did a good job, obviously.
It's crazy that she's lip singing, but Adam Driver's singing. I'm just doing the singing, like, 'cause it's like he has a very. I mean, I'm not saying his voice. His voice is obviously nothing like Rex Harrison, but he has like that
that cadence.
Yeah,
the Rex Harrison school of talk singing. Yeah,
exactly. Because it's like, I mean, not the entire time, but like for a lot of it, there's like talk sings his way through like Why Did I Become a Comedian, and like a lot of his on stage parts of it too.
It's like when I rewatch the Phantom of the Opera, and I'm like, oh god, not only is there notes, but there's also prima donna where everyone's talk singing over each other, and people think it's funny, but it's really not.
It's like Nashville, but a nightmare.
Yeah.
You see, I don't know if you feel the same way. I felt like the final scene where he's finally in prison and he's going back and forth with the daughter, who's now not a puppet anymore, who sheds her puppetness and becomes a real girl. I guess
they dropped some of the hardest lines in the whole movie. It's like, oh my god.
But when there's almost like a Les Mis kind of thing about it, where they're each doing their own. They're each singing their own kind of song at the same time, and the songs only meld at like certain points because they're both kind of making other points.
You know what's missing though is that guy on TikTok who's doing impressions of Hugh Jackman's voice.
I just saw this. Yeah.
One thing about the Adam Driver of it all, and the fact that he chose to sing himself, and Carax kind of liked that he was straining a little bit for the higher notes, like thought it gave us some authenticity, and
I know the feeling
led to these more the striving sort of nature of the character as well, which again is this very specific kind of moment in time comedian. You know, I mean, evil Bo Burnham kind of tracks, right? But like also like MRA guy, sort of like, oh god, this guy's audience is the actual worst. You know, just like they might as well hand out date rape drugs at the door, like just like the worst kind of guy. But it's a kind of guy that we don't ever see in a musical.
Yeah,
and I thought that was all deftly deployed in a way that was very cool. You get kind of a Greek chorus with the back and forth of the audience. Sometimes I love that. I thought that was like unique and cool. Go ahead, Forrest.
Or if we do see something like that, not necessarily that kind of guy, but like if we do see somebody doing that kind of thing, right? It's like a heavy-handed, like clearly somebody who isn't in that world writing like this character and making it like a heavy-handed, like more conservative side character or something, rather than
like a Knives Out where you have like the kid and it's like, all right, we get it, we understand, I agree, like, and then this kid, there isn't a well-rounded person behind it. Kev, go ahead.
Yeah, and I will say that is a trend in a lot of theater. Scott, maybe you could corroborate on this. People writing out of their depth characters that are just like caricatures of things they think they understand. So it was refreshing to see this kind of spin, I guess.
Yeah, although this is like, it is very operatic in the sense that it is painted in broad strokes. You know, it is like subtlety is not really the goal.
Opera and subtlety are not normally the same
sentence. Right, and so this has that same sort of thing where it's like the emotions are very big and clean. You know, the song that they sing to each other, we love each other so much. There's nothing personal or nuanced about it. It's just like this declaration. So everything is painted very broadly. But yeah, I mean, it has a sort of authenticity to where the characters are coming from. Especially, yeah. I mean, there's so many bad fake stand-ups in movies and TV, and this is like,
and you never believe it, right? You
yeah,
never
like,
believe it.
and obviously this is heightened because he breaks out into song in certain ways. But his sort of cadence of how he's like sauntering around the stage and how he's talking and how he's using the mic feels very real.
Yeah. He does. He like the cadence also where he does the thing where your voice kind of trails off when you're doing it. He does that thing. It's like that actually is like a thing a lot of stand-up get very, very good at, where it's like it's almost like I don't know, it's almost like the vocal fry kind of thing, but they're like it's almost like they're trying to project they're having a conversation with an audience that's sitting in front of them,
like integrating the crowd work into it, and like going back to repeated bits for that. Yeah, I think all that works. And Scott, I'm glad you brought up that we love each other so much, because I thought that was in this iteration of watching Annette, I felt like that was kind of, you get the celebrity news interjections with the great Sparks theme over and over again. And it's almost as if you see these performative couples with celebrities where they're, hey, oh, we're so in love, everybody. Like, where they're almost like, who are you trying to convince? Okay, I mean, congratulations. But for me, that song and being Sparks, which is just real, open-hearted, but very darkly comic at the same time. Like, it kind of works on a few levels, very much like Carax's other work, by the way, to put that in. And it's also a good song. Like, it's actually like, I mean, like, depending on the era, like if you were like, oh, there's this song from the 1920s, and then be like, oh, okay, I believe you, just change the recording quality. But it works so well, because something that I kind of focused a little more on this time was the fickle nature of fame, and that the Henry McHenry character has a rise and then like a pretty precipitous fall. And that's like is something that he's not prepared to deal with, and that leads to other actions and activities, and all of that's sort of tied into, oh, they're a power couple. They're a power couple, everybody. It's like the best opera singer in the world, and like the guy that
Joe Rogan,
bad boy of the bad boy of comedy is what I was gonna say. But that's exactly a sensible Joe Rogan. Yeah,
it's like a Marilyn Monroe
with a boxing
DiMaggio situation, but it's not.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: like, I actually like opera. I go to the opera a couple times a season. I don't know any opera. Like, why is she famous?
Yeah.
Who is she famous to?
That's one of these things where that's such a niche world now more than ever, especially as the Met tries to do contemporary things and just isn't grabbing.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It's a conceit. It's whatever. But
I also knowing it was like a French film, I kind of bought more of it. It was like, I'm like, like I know the director was French. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, like I'll suspend disbelief enough to, this is the greatest opera singer ever. Sure, whatever.
Sure.
Like, that's why she's lip syncing. All right, I get it.
Again.
But it's within the framework of the movie, and within the movie, which again, as mentioned, opera everything is writ not just large but huge. It has to be, because it's one of like the oldest methods of entertainment in that fashion. Which
we talked about last week with Amadeus.
Yes, talked about that because we just did freaking Amadeus. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And all that plays so well with Carax's directorial vision, but also with Sparks doing the music, which originally, and you reminded me of this, Forrest, that originally they were trying to get him to do Seduction of Ingmar Bergman, which is cool, but that's a little bit too much. Like, that would barely have been a collaboration. That would have been like, all right, like, you're making the Sparks movie is what you're doing. And ultimately, this is the more interesting narrative, because we hadn't really gotten this kind of story as a straight movie yet, so to speak. But to have it in this fashion capacity, which formatively is nuts. Like, who makes a movie like this? And what is the potential audience for this?
The guy obviously press.
Well, that dude. But like the people on the screen, right? But anyone that appreciates, just like how Holy Motors was like, oh my God, what's this? This movie's crazy. Like, that's you get something that he's done over and over again in his career, is just do something that's unorthodox, and it's like, wow, that wasn't what I expected, but that's very cool. And I can confidently say that now, having gone through a deep dive on his entire career, that in different ways all his movies are like that. So it made me sort of appreciate that in a different way, that wasn't just, wow, that felt like a fever dream, which it did, to be clear. It still does, because there's things like the production and design, you almost have like Night of the Hunter style, like children's fairy tale stuff, which I love. I'm for all that.
And when she's in this, when she's drowning, It felt very Night of the Hunter.
So Night of the Hunter.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by the fact that he is kind of to French New Wave what like neo noir is to noir. When you look at something like he is like a version of like the Coen brothers to like older noir directors, or he is something like even like the Elliot Gould kind of Robert Altman collaboration kind of thing when it comes to French New Wave, which is such a big movement, not just for France, but like for a lot of American directors too. He sees himself as the contemporary version of that. And I found it interesting that he went into film criticism as like his first thing, which is the same thing that Godard did and the same thing that Truffaut did. They were like film critics that kind of, which I feel like that's setting up a target on your back personally, because I think that if you're a film critic, I think if you're a film critic and you pan somebody's film, I think that sets up a big target on your back when your films finally come out. You better be a good fucking film director or you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is informative. I think you're right that it is beyond. In French cinema, anyone doing anything remotely off kilter, Godard's going to come up with a conversation. And Godard, honestly, if you think of the whole totality of his work, his hit ratio for me is about 30%. But that 30% rocks. And it's something where it's like, all right, that's pretty great. And there's a bunch that are, in my opinion, less great. But he also does some of the things that Godard does and puts a different. He does what you should do and put your own spin on it in a way that I keep thinking about. I bring him up all the time, and I don't think we've ever covered one of his movies, but Nicholas Winding Refn, he wants to be like David Lynch plus Michael Mann so bad.
Yes.
And like you can smell it on him. You know what I mean?
Like a cat in heat.
When it wasn't working, he had his Billy Friedkin interview where he's like, "The two of us, great directors."
And I do enjoy. I think his longer form stuff, like the streaming series on Amazon Prime and Copenhagen Cowboy on Netflix, are some of his best stuff. And he's kind of like come into his own voice again, because when he started off, if you look at the Pusher series, it's like everyone's like, "Oh, it's your Nordic Quentin Tarantino," and so he tried to whatever he could to get away from that. But when people overutilize Lynch. They over reference Lynch, things that are said to be Lynchian rarely are, but I like that a lot of the things that Carax does is kind of dream state in that same way that a lot of David Lynch stuff is, but not in that same way at the same time. And that's this movie in a nutshell, where it does kind of feel like, again, that's why I mentioned, it feels like you're on, had too much cough syrup or something. You're like, what is happening in this movie? Like, but compliment, where it's like, it's a fun ride where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen next. What is that? Now, what are they singing about?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And they push those boundaries even when he's making the joke like, "Oh, I killed my wife," and that's in the scene before anything even happens, where he
before it actually happens. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
his wife died.
It kind of feels like a dream. Yeah.
By the way, like the cops, they're like, "We are the police, and we are here. We're here to say."
Yeah.
But they're like, "Oh, did you mean it when you said on stage that you killed your wife?" And then he's like, "My acts are full of provocation." I like that. Yeah.
Well, and I like in Carax's world that the provocateur, and that's the factor who the talent is really just provocation, eventually gets called out and like defamed, which, God, if only that would happen in real life.
Yeah.
But by the way, anyway,
you would somehow get more of an audience after he killed his wife.
I know, right?
It happened in the real world.
Henry McHenry, the two, yeah.
It's a very Robert Blake kind of character, I guess.
Kev, did you have a thing for that?
Yeah, I just think it's interesting talking about the flow of the narrative and stuff, and the Lynchian dreamlike feel of that. It does often feel like in this movie that the movie is reacting to the things that are happening versus the movie having like a propulsion to it, which I don't think is a bad thing, but it's kind of like, this is weird, but like, the movie and the story are two different things. And the way that the movie is looking at the story is almost at kind of a distance, which I feel is an opera thing sometimes.
Yeah.
But like the movie is like, oh, look, now this has happened versus this is happening. Does that make sense?
Totally. Absolutely. And Scott, I'd be interested in your take on that as well, especially because with Big White Elephants, you're now not just, interested in musicals, but you're analyzing them and talking about them, which is something that is a slightly, it's going to be slightly different when you're doing it as programming than just as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, what we're trying to focus on that show is a lot of like what makes it work, because this is often a medium that is built to be on stage, and film is so different, and the conventions are so different. And so like how you're using the music and song, like, does it work in a film medium? This, of course, is like kind of different because it is sung through for the most part. There's almost no dialogue. And like you said, Kev, I think that's totally right, that it's almost constantly a dream sequence, and there are specific dream sequences. Like my little tagline on here is accused by 6 women, which I do just want to know, I have never been accused by any women of anything but being a perfect gentleman. But of course, in the movie, Henry McHenry is also, it's not true that he's accused by 6 women. It's a dream that Marion Cotillard is having.
More like a nightmare.
Or a nightmare, yeah. And even when she dies and she keeps appearing as this ghost saying that, she's haunting him, and it sort of casts this whole pallor over that second half of the movie where it's like, is any of this real, or is this sort of like nightmare of his guilt? And I'm curious, Conan, because I know you just watched like all of Carax's films in the past week. This is the only one I've ever seen. And so I'm curious how it compares, because at the center of this movie, it's this love story about 2 people who I do believe love each other, but are both like racked by these anxieties that are put upon them because of their social position and their fame. And they're like never able to fully like trust each other or the relationship, and it becomes toxic. And obviously one person more so than the other, but like is that a kind of theme that runs through his other films?
Love that is both open-hearted and complicated is definitely a theme that runs through his films. And but sometimes, like Malfoy Song, aka Bad Blood, is a pseudo lo-fi sci-fi movie, actually. Like science fiction, but the conceit of that is less relevant than as a motivating factor for the characters to be where they are. And it's interesting to see that through line through all of it, even a little bit in Holy Motors, which is a series of extended vignettes, but you get that great my God, I'm blanking on her name. Can't get you. Kylie Minogue sequence. And she's great in Holy Motors too. And I was like, nobody told me Kylie Minogue was in Holy Motors, but okay.
Oh, she's good.
But you get a small sequence in Holy Motors that like you get a little bit of that too, and that's a whole show in and of itself. There's absolutely a through line for it. It's complicated. But it somehow maintains a lack of cynicism that I think a lot of directors would put into it. And that's also a through line as well. And that's maybe the thing I find most fascinating about like all of this stuff. And that includes Annette, because I was sort of like on the lookout for these things this time. And I was like, no, it's not. It's not cynical, but it's also, when you look at the Henry McHenry character, it's like, this was never going to end great.
Yeah, but it's not like,
but it's to make a bad person. I mean, he is.
Yeah, it's interesting because like, I have my own feelings about this movie, but it's not like a Tar, where it's not like about cancel culture, even though it's sort of about that, but it doesn't have that kind of cynicism about it. You're right. It's like very open-hearted to the Henry McHenry character.
I mean,
Lydia Tarr and Henry McHenry would definitely have a podcast.
But having watched the only other one that I watched is The Lovers on the Bridge, and it has the same kind of thing where the action is it's not the characters propelling the action. It's like kind of the action just happens throughout it because these people are like essentially homeless and they're just kind of reacting to the things in front of him. Like, he's reacting to the poster that they're looking for. They're looking for the woman who's going blind because their family is like, oh, we have a surgery that can fix it, and he reacts to that and throws the poster off the wall and then burns the car. And then the guy,
he burns the car to get rid of the posters and accidentally sets the dude on fire. Which is like, which is crazy. I mean, it's
like that kind of thing is propelling
this movie.
Well, and it's funny because it is sort of dirtbag before series compliment in a lot of ways, but there is a that's absolutely where there's incredible horrific consequences. They're not exactly planned out. Like, the characters are almost the decisions are made are the decisions that are made, but they turn into these big snowballs of
well, the decisions are in both cases 100% fueled by emotion, like
character flaws, emotionality and character flaws. In Annette, it's I'm drunk on a boat. Hey, dude, like there's a freaking storm going on. like that, you know, like end of days, like biblical level storm. Maybe don't be wasted on the boat that just has your wife and kid. I don't know, crazy idea, but that's what the Henry McHenry character
And he's
is.
like, there's
excess.
nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. Which is how I just felt with this microphone until it started working again. but he's like, it's interesting that he doesn't like. He makes the decision to kill the accompanist. But technically he doesn't. Everything he does gets to the point where his wife falls off the boat and drowns. But it's not technically that he's like these are like even that, right? Even that kind of is his own way. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's like pouring gasoline on something and then lighting a cigarette, but not dropping the cigarette onto the gasoline. You're just so close to it that there's no
technically. And I know this. And shout out to Mike Scott and Bottled and Bond. That's called Death by Misadventure, and I learned that in a James Bond novel. So that is what that is known for. And it is you're right that it's not. I mean, it's certainly not moral, but it's not considered a convictable crime. But when he kills the accompanist, ostensibly for him teaching baby Annette the love song, right? And which is crazy because that's his only meal ticket. And but he's not acting logically. He's acting.
You could get another accompanist.
Well, but I think that's so interesting because the dynamics change, right? Because at that point, and for folks that haven't seen the movie, sorry, spoilers here, that the incredible voice of the mother is amplified times 20 with the child portrayed by a puppet, I might add, just to not leave that unsaid. An incredible, like, physical, tactile puppet, not any of this, like, you know, CGI.
It's given Pinocchio.
And he takes the act on tour.
Girl.
It's giving Pinocchio.
It's giving real Pinocchio vibes. Guy who has only seen Pinocchio.
Yeah. There's no Pleasure Island in this one. Anyway.
But
there is when he goes to the city and there's all the women in the
that looks pretty Pleasure Island to me.
Pleasure Island, baby.
but then he goes, so he takes baby Annette out, and that's like his so he's managing his kid, right? And that's also by the way we get the great sequence where the male brothers are the pilot and co-pilot of the private plane too.
Yep.
I love that. I love that.
Flipped out in the theater and at Scott's over that.
I spent a while going Leo Carax. Like I spent a while trying to do like the little like reflection, and then I got the male
you overly Frenched out the male brother's name. No, it's his name. You're like one of those newscasters that like rolls the R's unnecessarily on anything that looks remotely Mexican. It's like all right, you can settle down there, Sanchez. You know, it's fine.
But like there's an interesting thing that I was reading about that I didn't find the quote of him actually like saying, like the actual video of him saying it, but they did a bunch of different each song, right? They did multiple like recordings of each song pretty much, or like versions of each song, because as the filming went along, they were picking what was going to happen next. So it wasn't written in like a standard way. They would kind of let the ideas kind of flow where they may, and then kind of pieced it together from there, which I thought was kind of an interesting way to do something like this.
See, it even makes sense with the dreamy way it flows through. And how things happen. Yeah.
Kristina, as the other, musical person here, I'm curious, like, because I think you also said you're not like familiar with Sparks. So what was your kind of take on the music and how it's used here?
I just like a lot of the inspo. Like it felt very nostalgic for me. Like I was like, oh, this sounds like a good like 80s power ballad. Like it really wasn't like your typical like musical genre, which is what I like. These days we're kind of abandoning, the classical Rodgers and Hammerstein. We're embracing new rock and whatnot. So I thought that was actually a really good way, because I feel like one of the reasons why people don't like musicals is because they sound too classical, they sound too old, and that's why we're seeing so many films be adapted into stage shows as well, because they're like, we could do a modern take on this with the music and be very loose with it.
Well, and we've talked about this on this very show, that one of my biggest complaints with most movie musicals especially is the songwriting, and the fact that it's, for me, it's very tired. It's very formulaic. There's certain beats and things that it goes off of. But with Sparks doing it, you're talking about a band that was like existed, and they were a paragon of like the glam period. They're a paragon of like the new wave period. They made arguably one of the first mainstream synth records. I mean, Erasure owes their entire career to them, frankly. Yes. They went symphonic. I mean, they've done so much stuff. And again, I just can't stress this enough. See the Sparks Brothers documentary by Edgar Wright if you're remotely interested. But to have those guys that are just, if anything, they're too creative. It certainly stopped them from having mainstream success in America for a long time.
Right.
And so to put them towards something like this, it's the perfect application for them. And for me, obviously, I'm a fan. So, of course, I'm going to love it. But I just think from a perspective of making the songs interesting, cool, unorthodox, and new. Just sounding new and applied in different ways that it's like, oh, didn't see that coming. Like, that's a crazy left turn.
And this movie came out the 50th anniversary of like the original Sparks album. Like,
really? Oh wow, I didn't know.
Yeah, it was 1971, like Half Nelson, but then they re-released it as Sparks.
And they tried to do something with Tim Burton, like in like the late 80s or early 90s, and they tried to get Carax on board for Seduction of Ingmar Bergman. I think even he was like, this is too much for me, man.
They also their first two albums, when they were like Half Nelson or whatever, they were both Bearsville, which is the Woodstock where Bob Dylan, that's where his like career started. So they were discovered by like Albert Grossman, and he did their first two albums, and then from there they expanded out. But like
then they get like Come On to My House and all like that legendary stuff where they're contemporaries of Queen and
basically like the world that was built around kind of Dylan, like they kind of popped out of that.
But they always, as a musical act, have been a little bit too clever for their own good, just like Carax, by the way. So therefore, like those guys, like all working together, it's like, oh, that's going to be interesting.
Which is not to give away the story of the Sparks Brothers movie, but that is the story of the Sparks Brothers movie and their career, which is just when they find mainstream success, they go off in some other direction, and it goes against their long-term commercial appeal, which makes the band and the music better, but at what cost? But also makes them perfect for a project like this.
I just want to like voice another side, because I love this movie, but we've all kind of seems like we all love this movie, but I think there are a lot of people who like find it very baffling and musically like, confusing. And I think there is something to the idea that like, because so much of it is sung through, a lot of that, the connecting stuff, can start to feel a little repetitive and a little like aimless, where I think I might almost prefer it if it was stripped down to be more musical and like have more chunks of dialogue punctured by the more like structured songs. I don't know that I 100% feel that, but I think it's like, I don't want to leave that perspective out, because I know there are a lot of people who are like, what the fuck is this? Like,
absolutely. That's super valid.
People are like, I want my classic like Andrew Lloyd Webber or Stephen Sondheim, something that I know that I can understand. It's like,
that's not what this is.
Exactly. Like, I'm like, come on, man.
And also there's people that maybe they don't know Sparks from Moses, maybe they don't know Carax from Moses, like, oh, there's a new Adam Driver movie, let's go check it out, see what Kylo Ren's up to.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
I mean, it literally, because they paused their production on this to allow Kylo Ren, which is something that Leo Carax has kind of done throughout his career. He's like, I'm one of those guys that if I find someone and I want to make a movie like around them or use them as like a vehicle to make this movie, I'll wait like 10 years even if I have to. Like, I'm not someone who goes out and recasts and then is able to like pick at, like, if I try to pick, when I've tried to pick somebody out of like a lineup, pretty much it never works out. So they literally waited for all of the Star Wars movies to come out.
Yeah, and I think and the lack of context is interesting too, because I mean, one of the reasons why I love this is lack of context. I was like, wow, this is one of the most audacious when I first saw it, which was similar experience to Kev, just not being out and seeing anything for a long time, and then just wow, that was nuts. Like, I have not seen anything like that. That is. And I had to kind of sit with it. And the more I sat with it, the more I was like, oh, I really dug that actually. But at first I was like, that was just overwhelming. Like that was a lot. That was doing a lot of things happening there. And I've seen people whose opinions I trust and love. They did not have that reaction. It was overwhelming insult. And they did not care for it. And they're very vocal about it, which is why it has one of the lowest scores on Letterboxd and IMDb too, because it had more people watching it. Great. But these are people with no context of any of those.
See this, and you guys gotta understand, when Conan likes a musical, it's a big fucking deal on this podcast.
I know.
I mean, I'm like, what?
Yeah, I got a pretty strong list of about 20.
That's pretty good.
Two
That's
of
a
which, by
lot
the
for
way,
most
Scott,
people.
you've either just done Sound of Music and Angry Itch, Hedwig and the Angry Itch, or both.
Ooh,
yeah,
yeah.
that'll be out this week. And
Those are two of
God,
my favorites as well.
what a movie! It's so
Yeah.
good.
I would like to do those on this show, actually. But,
Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, but again, I'm coming at. You have to understand too. A problem I have with a lot of movie musicals is I'm coming at from the perspective of a musician, and I think it's. I wouldn't expect people that have my specific critiques for things to. I wouldn't expect that to match up with my sensibilities, and it's a me problem, right? And that's there's something to be said for that. Doesn't mean I'm fundamentally right about everything. No, it's just a difference of opinion. You know?
Also, too, it's the 50th anniversary of the Rock Horror Picture Show. We haven't even consideed doing that.
Yeah, that's
We
crazy.
did talk about doing Phantom of the Paradise though, which says a lot about this show.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which I love.
time.
Phantom of the Paradise rocks as well.
I
Happy
Is it
birthday,
really the
Marion.
50th
Paul
anniversary of that?
Williams.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
wanna-
be hanging out with little Nell in October in a few
What?
weeks. Yeah, to do a
Okay.
first screening and Q&A with her. It's gonna be cool.
Okay. Damn, girl.
Barry Boswick came last year, and I went
That's
to that
awesome.
one too.
What a
Yeah,
sentence.
that's
Okay.
I don't know how much he came in Rocky Horror Picture Show, but
Yeah.
well.
Way, oh, way.
So I was wondering what you guys think about this movie starts out on such a meta, like it doesn't explain itself that way, but like it starts off on such a meta, like you almost feel like you're watching like a behind the scenes music video of like Sparks working on with the So Now We Start song.
Okay. So I'm really glad you brought that up, because I feel like that is one of the great. So maybe start, of course, and you even have. I wanted to start the episode with the because it's Carax that says it. It's like, but does that voice the. So maybe start. Yeah, he does that, and it's so cool that it's the director asking that, right? But for me, it's setting the table in such a way that it's a meta contextual narrative. The song, what's happening in the song, is happening on the screen. It's talking about what happens when a musical or stage production or movie musical starts. That the down to concerns about if the people are going to like it, like what the critics are going to say, so on and so on, in that way that is so uniquely Sparks. But then it's where there's this movement. They go outside the recording studio. They're going down, and it's such a transgressive way to start a movie that I know there are people that are like, yeah, that ruled and never reached those heights again. I'm like, okay, well, for me, it did something different. But I will say that it is criminal that it was on the short list of songs to be nominated for Best Song for the Oscars, and it did not make it. And that juiceless Billie Eilish James Bond song is the one that won, and that song is not something I particularly enjoy. Peace and love, Billie Eilish seems cool. I'd love to hang out. Billie Eilish, come on the show.
Yeah,
and her brother.
Yeah,
they're both
welcome.
welcome.
No, because I think their Barbie song that won is genuinely an incredible song that deserved to win.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with you about the Bond one. It's like,
What
all
was that?
right, it's like so phoned in. But
It's almost
that's
like you
what the
have
Oscar
to
song
give.
category is.
It's almost like you have to nominate Diane Warren every year. She doesn't
Right.
win. But if there's a Bond song,
Flamin' Hot.
to win.
Everybody, remember Flamin' Hot? Yeah, no one else does either.
If it's a James
Yeah,
Bond
Flamin'
movie
Hot,
song, you gotta give it the Oscar because it's a James Bond song.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Honestly,
like most of them. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, most of the James Bond songs have won Best Original Song.
yeah, the
Adele
Samsung
had
one was
one.
bad too.
Skyfall was like the Adele when they had the Adele.
Not very good.
Yeah.
But they had that on the
Live and
radio.
let
They had it on
die.
the radio nonstop for a while. Like I remember,
Yeah.
like that was. I remember seeing it in theaters. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's from it's from James Bond."
I'll just say, like, real quick, this was an astonishingly bad year for Best Original Song. I have to say, the Encanto song everyone likes wasn't even nominated, and they did it on the Oscars anyway. Diane Warren's song this year, again, I think I know it's the running gag. I don't even know that
That's
movie.
why.
Does that
I'm
movie even
hoping.
exist? Was it released?
Did Beyonce even show up for this? Probably
thing
not.
they do every year though for a gag, like the Oscars are not known for their big gags. Like
Also, too, they stopped performing Best Original Song after last year with I'm Just Ken, and I'm over here thinking to myself, okay, first of all, Sinners has got to get a nomination for I Lie to You. We need like a Sinners medley. Awesome. We start with Miles singing I Lie to You, and then Jack O'Connell could get everyone to do Rocky Road to Dublin just because, and then it ends with like that song at the end credits. I got ideas, but they're not going to listen to me.
It sounds like you're programming the show to me, but I'm not against
it. They're not going to listen to me.
Sounds great.
Like that. And the K-pop Demon Hunter song will probably win and whatever.
Well, yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
So to reiterate the point, it was not even nominated for best song. And for me, this is what it's, and they open their shows with this too, Sparks.
Oh, that's cool.
Not every time, but a lot of times, and it rules. And it should, in the same way that the Rocky, Flying High Now did not win that year. That did not win that year. That was at least nominated though.
Yeah,
and I think it's so maybe starts amazing, and even if this movie did nothing else, you have to recognize that is clever as hell, and nobody has ever done that in a movie, let alone a movie musical before, and that deserves some acknowledgement.
Yeah.
That's why when they do adaptations for movie musicals like Phantom of the Opera or even Wicked, especially Wicked for Good, they're adding more songs so that they can get the nomination or the win for best original song.
Which is always annoying.
It would have been 20.
At no point was I ever being like, you know what this needs? More songs.
You guys didn't love Mel Brooks' There's Nothing Like a Show on Broadway from the Producers movie?
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah?
Yeah.
It would have been 2022 that it would have been nominated.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah. That not to one, which definitely that deserved to.
Oh, never.
Yeah. Don't even give me. We already covered our. I don't think
first Oscars that we covered.
Yeah, it might have been. We were complaining about that. Probably sounds like a thing we would do. Scott, what do you? I think you had something you want to jump in on that.
No, I was just talking more about about the sort of meta opening. There's a meta opening before that because there's the thing that tells you to not breathe, and that's how the movie actually starts. It says so. Take a deep breath and then hold it the whole rest of the production, and then we go into the recording studio for maybe start, and then the movie starts. Right. And so I'm not even totally sure what to make of that second layer, but it's interesting that it's there.
Yeah, that is, and I'll be honest with you, I had mentally redacted that part before we watched it. I'm like,
because it's this other layer that you forget about because we never get back to it. But
I just remember that you said, "Do not breathe, do not fart," and I was like, "That's a weird place to start this." All right, I'll try.
It's a very Carax. Okay, here we go. I got it, ladies and gentlemen. We now ask for your complete attention. If you want to sing, laugh, clap, cry, yearn, boo, or fart, there it is. Please do it in your head. Only in your head. You're now kindly requested to keep silent and to hold breath until the very end of the show. Breathing will not be tolerated during the show, so please take a deep last breath right now.
Yeah. It's like me trying. This was me when I was trying to sing during Wicked. Like, come on! I'm like, come on! I can't.
It was directed at you. Yes, Kristina, especially. Do not sing.
Yeah. As someone who's a theater kid, I know how to sing.
Do not pee. Do not fart.
That's why they had those special showings. Yeah, the do not fart is amazing. Sure.
Kev, just the announcements. Yeah, it's just the announcements before the show.
Yeah.
Let's go down, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this performance of Annette.
Yeah,
sure.
Hold your breath now. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how I took it, as a parody of the announcements before a show.
Well, and that's
or at a movie theater, even when they have like the, they're like everyone
turn off your cell phones.
Yeah,
it's the Nicole
Kidman in the Hell Dimension. Yeah,
turn off
or the M&M's characters from my theater.
Turn off your phone. Turn off your make sure nothing's on, and don't breathe. And if you breathe, you're fucked.
Yeah, you'll be incarcerated. I mean, it's funny because there's kind of Carax explained with that. Like, he did in Holy Motors. People forget that, like, that first, which is one of the most weird scenes of it in general, where he has like the key with the Forrest wallpaper or whatever, and then he's in a movie theater, and he likes playing with the form of cinema because, and I think that comes to what you were saying, Forrest, about him starting off as a critic before he ever made movies, and just being a fan of film and liking the practices and the methodology and the habits and the even sometimes the cliches of filmmaking, and kind of turning that on its head. It's certainly there in that just absolutely nuts compliment pseudo self-auto biopic that he did for Con that was only supposed to be a museum piece that was shown one time, but everyone like loved it, and like it's like a 45-minute thing. It's called It's Not Me. And it's certainly the case there, where it's like one part Kogonada style video essay, and one part the La JT, right? The 12 Monkeys inspiration short film. Is that what it's called, right? And and Godard, the history, what is it? The Historia do Cinema, whatever it is, that's like too long by 2 episodes and not his best work in my opinion, but fine. But it's his version of that in 45 minutes. Thank you, everybody. That's what I've been doing this week.
There's another weird fourth wall breaking moment at the end of this film when he's in the jail cell. He's talking to his daughter, singing, and I think it's maybe right after she leaves, and Adam Driver turns and he briefly looks into the lens of the camera, and then he says, "Stop watching me," or "Stop looking at me," or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, what just happened? Like, this weird sort of takes you out of the film and has this kind of strange fourth wall break, which is cool and weird and feels very French New Wave.
Freaking out all the pot smokers in the audience.
Yeah.
What's happening? All of a sudden I got the munchies and I need to fart.
Yeah.
But I was told not to, so I can't.
Better out than in, I always say.
All right. Kev, what was that?
What a great match, right? Liz, Carax, and Sparks,
Uh-huh.
right? They start the show. The whole point of the opening number of a musical is to bring you into the world. It's weird. It's not like any other musical you've ever seen, but it's going to be catchy as hell and really funny and strange. So strap in. So may we start. And then throughout, there are all these little hints, right? Sparks cameoing at all in the middle in the plane to me was another thing of like, oh,
that seemed very Mel Brooks to me in a way too.
Yeah,
there they are. It's the guys. They're the pilots.
But it sets a tone of like, this is going to be weird and maybe it'll be sad, but it'll be playful. And like, if you give yourself up to it, you'll be rewarded for it.
Yeah, there's emotionality. It feels like that has to be invested into enjoying any really like all of his work. Kind of feels, I mean, at least that I've seen, and that I've read, it seems very emotionally driven, and it's like that is kind of the propulsion that he has behind so much of the just so much of it. Like there's a I think open-hearted is the right word for it. Like there's a very kind of vulnerable and rather than kind of being either script driven or like screenplay driven or action driven, it's emotionally driven.
Well, yeah, you're right. And there is a strong undercurrent of romanticism to it, but it doesn't come out the same way that it does like for like a Wong Kar-wai or something. It's applied totally differently, and it's very unique. And maybe that's one of the things I find so interesting about it is it something that it's, I guess maybe the thing that's kept him away from like mainstream success in a lot of ways. Although Lovers on the Bridge, crazily enough, being one of the most expensive French films ever made at that moment in time, probably did him no favors either with the production companies, which is crazy when you look at it. Because it's like it's not like everything's exploding.
No, they built,
but they built an entire
replica of the bridge.
But what I'm driving at is that it seems he uses these emotionality. They were in Roller Coaster, right? I forgot about that. Yeah. He uses this emotionality in a way that people are not used to seeing, and so you're either on board with seeing something new, or you're not. And for some people, if you're just like a regular moviegoer, maybe you're not. Maybe it's not for you. Okay.
There's like a non-judgmental side to it that that's very hard. Like we're used to kind of movies telling us what to think about these characters, and whether it's like Lovers on the Bridge, where it's like it's two homeless people, well, multiple homeless people, and they're like they're kind of just around France or around Paris, kind of just wandering around, and they're doing heroin for a lot of it. Like they have heroin that they're given every day out of a little chest. There's so much that you want to maybe feel judgmental about, or you want to feel like the film is giving you some kind of moral lesson, or because that's how we're used to taking these films. And it feels like Carax in general, like in this movie too, it doesn't do that. We're as much as kind of Henry McHenry's a scumbag, and he's still
deserving of love even as a flawed person, and
has an awesome porn star name, by the way. we haven't touched on that.
But it also reminds me.
Yeah, you're right. We haven't. How did we miss that one?
It also reminds me of Jean Valjean, like Henry McHenry. Like it's the same kind of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
French new wave porn star Jean
Oh,
Valjean.
that's so true. It's the same Jean Valjean. I didn't think about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something he's
Carax
is very meta aware as well. Like he does things intentionally. Like I'm sure that the night of the hunter underwater thing is 100% like intentional. And but I think just capping that point, I think part of the romanticism of his kind of worldview, directorial as an auteur, which is a term that he doesn't even consider himself to be applied to, is that everyone is deserving of love, and that people are flawed, and they shouldn't
even
be.
Adolf Hitler. That's right.
I don't believe he said that. That's not an exact quote.
Well, I mean,
you mean Adolf McAdolf?
There was a Mr. T Experience song called "Even Hitler Had a Girlfriend, So Why Can't I?" Which I thought was pretty good. But getting back to my incredibly serious point before it was waylaid by whatever that was, is that it's a through line through everything, and I think it's one of the reasons why it hits a little different, because I think we have this scoldy kind of, oh well, this is a bad person, and so bad things should happen to them. They are not deserving of love because they are a bad person doing bad things. That is just so, I guess, matching a lot with contemporary values. But it's not that he's like working against that. He's just working as if that doesn't exist, and there isn't any judgment with it. It's just a telling of the very weird facts and a shockingly linear story.
Yeah. Not to say it's specifically American, kind of fixation that movies have to tell you, some kind of morality tale, or they have to specifically tell you how to feel about these characters, or to tell you about how to feel about any characters. But it is like, it was literally written into the Hays Code that, like, if a character's bad, like, you have to show that something bad happens to them in the end.
Right.
They can't win.
Consequences.
Yeah. And in this movie,
He Hays Code. Yeah.
He does have consequences in the end. But it's different in the sense of, like, I didn't feel like there was an overall sense of judgment in this movie, or this movie and Lovers on the Bridge kind of end the same way, with the person sitting in jail at the end because of what they've done throughout it. But it's not looked at as like there's a morality to it where it's like, this is a bad person, you have to know that, and that's why they're in jail. It's like all this crazy stuff happens, and the natural consequences of all of it is that they're sitting in jail now.
Yeah. Can we talk about Adam Driver in general, because he's such a fascinating presence in this, and you had
like,
that.
He'll do anything. Like, he's not like you would think that he would be a type of actor that would have shame for some of the projects he's done, but he's like he seems
so
like the type of guy who goes all in. Like, Ferrari, the Gucci movie.
Oh God,
like,
the Gucci movie. I forgot about that.
like,
but yeah, like Brad Pitt. Like, remember when Brad Pitt was like, dude, I can do character actor stuff, and like started went on that run of like doing like 12 Monkeys. They've mentioned 12 Monkeys again. 12 Monkeys mentioned, and other things that where he could actually act. That I think there's now a grand tradition of the Pattinson's another one, right? It was like okay, you're a leading man, but I'm just gonna pick the weirdest, craziest roles possible because I want to
do a Twilight.
Yeah. But yeah, Forrest, in that introduction video, you had the clip where they were talking about the physicality of him. And he is like, he's so tall, and this movie really uses that, right? Like, he's physically scary. He's intimidating. Even just when he's walking around on the stage, you get the sense like, this guy, I fully believe that he can snap. And, I was telling Kev and my girlfriend after we watched it, I was like, I don't mean to like pass any judgment on him as a person, but like, if we found out that he did like kill someone in real life, like, I don't know how shocked I would be. Like, I'm sure he is a good guy, but he's got this really intimidating physical presence.
Yeah, well,
he's imposing.
That goes to his actual like backstory, which I feel like it gets overshadowed, but it didn't when he first came around the scene or whatever. He was a Marine. Like, he literally after September 11th felt the urge to join up and literally became a Marine. And he spent 2 years as a Marine, and then fractured I think fractured part of it, like his chest or his back or something. So they had to discharge him. And once he was discharged and once he healed, he went to Juilliard and then got famous for being in Girls, which is such a dichotomy of things where it's like, oh, I'm gonna I feel like September 11th was this huge deal. I'm gonna go join the Marines right now, and then you're there, and then you kind of get fucked up for a little bit, and then you're back, and then you're like, I'm gonna become an actor and go to Juilliard, and then you're in like you're hanging out with Lena Dunham for the first
but his character in Girls is actually very similar to his character here. Like you never know what he's gonna do, and it's always like a little, you're on edge because he's just so big and unpredictable.
You don't want you don't want any wild cards in your life, but certainly not a dude that's like that imposing.
Yeah.
Right. He's tapping into an intensity here that's like in the bedrock of all of his other stuff.
Yeah.
But in White Noise, he's not asked to tap into that so much. But it's there behind the eyes.
You can just tell.
Kev, you're the only one who saw White Noise.
I saw White Noise.
I did too.
See, but this is the thing, right? After White Noise, I was like, sorry, not to go back to this. It's not appropriate. We're not on this topic. Emilia Perez, when I saw it with you, Scott, I was like, Netflix movie, Toodum, it's gone.
Yeah. But somehow it broke through.
Somehow Palpatine survived.
That's right. Exactly right. No, but more people should see the movie White Noise. He's wonderful in it. It's an underrated movie. It speaks to cell phones being bad. Anyway, go ahead.
That's Bombeck, right?
Francis Ha. We talked about Francis Ha, which the other Bombeck.
Which has.
He also has a Marriage Story, but like one of the other. I think that's the first one that he was in. Francis Ha. With
Boy sexy,
and you want to talk about dark intensity, Marriage Story performance.
That whole scene is a meme itself.
Right.
Even it became a meme, but at the ending of Marriage Story is quite sinister.
Right. No, absolutely.
And he does sing in Marriage Story.
Well, also like Adam Driver is not afraid to be over dramatic for the cause, and I think that's why he gets memes so much and more and
there was something. I mean, I remember when the Marriage Story, like when that became a meme, right? It was because of the intensity that people felt almost like uncomfortable with this, with Baumbach putting his whole marriage on screen, and people kind of felt uncomfortable with how vulnerable that movie was.
With Jennifer Jason Leigh, because that's
who he then showed the movie to, and he's like, I swear she loves it. But
right, exactly. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Speaking of a raging Zionist,
but there's there's an intensity about it, which is this was this cultural thing. So many people saw it in the moment, and then they started memeing it, and I think some of it was that they felt deeply uncomfortable with this thing that is like relatable, like a marriage falling apart, but is hard to see on screen in front of you. So they just started putting other things in there that were pretty funny. But
there is something about the physicality of him too, that he is, this big dude, like this big kind of oh man, that guy could probably do you physical harm.
Not in the lovable teddy bear kind of way,
Yeah.
And the way that you see that guy when he's mad and he punches a wall, you're like, oh my God, let's get out of here right now. That's
there's something there's something very tight about it too. Like, I mean, I guess that's but there's something kind of that feels almost clenched about him. It's like,
I can't believe Lena Dunham brought him to the world. She did something good.
Who's she again?
she's like, oh, I found this ex-Marine, and I think the world needs to see.
Peace and love to the Lena Dunham heads, but not really a fan. Very brave to say that. Thank you. So
it was also a couple years before, I guess the same year as Star Wars, like as The Last Jedi, at least he was in that movie Logan Lucky, where he's the really
aka Ocean 7-Eleven is what I called it. But I mean that's a compliment. I enjoyed that movie. It's good.
But he was the character in that movie where he was unpredictable and he just kept doing things that fucked everything up because he was such a loose cannon.
Wild card. He was
that kind of, all of these roles kind of build up I think a thing for him where the more he's in those roles, the more he is like kind of this weird, unpredictable, physically intimidating character, the more power kind of his performances have.
It's interesting to go back to our now classic episode of 2 episodes ago for Francis Ha, because of course there's that modern love sequence. That's the Bad Blood, the Malfoy song homage. Coming back to Carax and coming back to what led me down this crazy rabbit hole of the past few weeks. And I think it's interesting to see him deployed in such a different way here. And again, in a way that I don't think we have seen for the Henry McHenry type character that we all know. You know, we live in a society where we're aware we all have the internet and the whole kind of not at this point not explicitly political MRA kind of leaning men towards young boys who are lost to a bad direction, maybe. But and then for me, both times I kind of expected it, like it felt to me more that than it actually was. And then when I was like, well, he didn't actually do any of those things. He made some kind of weird, inappropriate, kind of like, that's not even funny. That's just odd and bizarre. But it comes off because of the physicality of the performance and the trappings of like, you know, him doing like the boxing thing. And he's wearing the bathrobe with the freaking the hood and all this, that like the accoutrement of it puts for a more sinister presence, is more politicized. And I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that, but
kind of there's like this moment in it where he's like he has like this complex a little bit, and he's talking on stage, and he's like, "What is she, some sort of goddess? And I'm some lowly insect." And the you know, the chorus, the Greek chorus of the audience goes like, "Yes, yeah." Sorry,
that's ready.
But like,
and the Greek chorus says,
Yes.
when he's doing that back and forth, there's such an insecurity and rage and like this complex of anxiety, but at the same time wanting to be loved, like by the audience, wanting the audience to react a certain way.
I want to be loved by you, just you.
Death. Like he's talking about, like he's like dying, and then bowing, like that. Like
yes.
A lot of the things he says, a lot of the things he says over and over again. It's like this fixation that you can either get to a really dark place where you're just sitting in kind of in a dark room and you're repeating these things to yourself over and over again, and you're fixated and you've decided that everybody hates you, and you're, you know, or you can get to a place where you use that for some kind of comedy or like, you know,
well, he's basically having a psychological spiral out on stage as entertainment nightly.
Crash out.
And it turns out that like he doesn't really like doing it. Wow, what a shocker. You know? What a shock. But I think all that works, and all that works, especially with the motif of, you know, the utilization of the Greek chorus. You can go back to, you know, something like, you know, there's something about Mary, right, where you have Jonathan Richmond basically being the Greek chorus. That's right. Didn't expect something about Mary to be referenced on this episode, did you, suckers?
Matt Dillon was in that one, right?
But having the audience back and forth be sort of, you know, the voice of the narrator and the audience watching the audience. It's such a like just a 7-layer cake of metacontextual narratives, and I appreciate that. And it's something where I can also see people being like, "Hey, F this, I'm out of here." Like, like I'm not into this at all. But I think if you're approaching it from a perspective of it, you can be enjoying something at the same time as deconstructing it. I think there's a lot to love there, and I think that's maybe one of the differences. I don't know. I don't understand why people hate this movie. I like this movie's great. What more? I mean, this is like everything I want out of a movie. I've never seen anything like this before.
That is a musical, perhaps. Also, this is everything you want out of a musical.
It's one of we
gotta call up Josh Dugan and ask. He apparently he did not like this movie.
I did, not to narc him out. I saw his half-star review. I'm like, all right.
What? You're not narking him out because I did my like opening half of, you know, talking
on their show,
on Unkind Rewind, and I brought up that we were talking about this, and he was like, I did not like that movie. So
I saw he didn't like it. And lots of other people didn't too, whose opinions I respect. And you know what? It's okay to be into different things, right?
However, Conan's opinion matters, and I will stand by that.
Well, thank you, Kristina. I appreciate you mentioning that. If it is notable, if I do like a musical, because
it's a big fucking deal, guys. For those who are new here, you have no idea how happy that this makes me.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is such a strong vibe. It's such a particular kind of thing that it totally makes sense to me. Like, if you don't get on its wavelength, then of course you're not gonna like it. It's not something you
like
can
locked
like
in the loony
half
bin.
Enjoy.
Right.
Gonna.
It's also far from a traditional musical. For what that's worth.
Right.
It's
Again,
written by Sparks, right?
or Lloyd Webber or Rodgers and Hammerstein, you know.
Well, and that counts for a lot as well too. And again, that's something where anytime you like, it's the same thing for me with music. Like some of my favorite records are ones that both embody and exemplify the form and go beyond it at the same time. And I think that a lot of times I get it when people are like, yeah, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. Like, yeah, but also how many movies are there that do the exact thing that you do want it to do? You can always just watch those and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
And they're repetitive because people are looking for like the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and that's how things become formulaic, and like it happens in, you know,
like a biopic.
Comedies. Oh my god, biopics. Yeah, exactly. Which is going back to last week, Amadeus, one of the great biopics. Like nothing quite like Amadeus, right?
But it's pure historical fiction for the most part.
And people got mad about the fiction part of it. I'm like, that's what makes it great.
Right.
I think
a weird angle.
Biopics should just lean into they are historical fiction and just run with it.
I agree.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Because like so much
Bring
of
it
the
back.
gimmick of like modern biopics, the gimmick seems to be, hey, we got a guy to really train his voice to sing like somebody, and it's like I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like part of me, like I'm excited for the Bruce Springsteen one because again, I'm originally from Freehold. There's a lot of familiar ties, and from what I've heard, it actually looks pretty good because it focuses on a specific album, like one album. Because every time I feel like
in the USA.
It's not that album. It's Nebraska.
It's the Nebraska album. So it's like good. If more, or even like with Oppenheimer, it just mostly focuses on that period in his life, you know.
Not trying to do everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, the sad backstory and blah 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 blah. Like you can address that later, but you don't have to start off with like the childhood. And
well,
you're
gonna say born in the USA, and then you're gonna have him. Yeah, Bruce Springsteen as a child, and he's gonna be like.
Yeah, somebody says the titular line. Yeah,
I
think
we're gonna say we are the police, just so you know they're the police, even though they dress up like the police and he's in a police.
Like my mom wants to go see this movie. Like
we
she wants
know.
to point out.
Before we move on, we got to talk about actual Baby Annette, the puppet, the puppet Baby Annette, because I mean it's one of the biggest takeaways for the movie for a lot of people. Positive or negative is that there's a practical effects puppet that is the child of the supernatural ability to sing.
I had the same reaction that he did when the baby started singing. I was like,
what?
Unbelievable, amazing, incredible. Like I was like, she sings when the lights are on her. Like, I do like that about the operatic side of this, and it is in that scene where like it kind of says what's going on the screen in front of you. Like if you were a blind person, like you'd be like, oh, thank you. I know. And she sings when the lights shine on her. Unbelievable, amazing. It's like thank you.
So Kev, Scott, let's get to your get your thoughts on the titular character Baby Annette, everybody's favorite.
As we were watching the movie, I was taking photos pretty much anytime Baby Annette was on screen, including a really great scene that Scott, I think both of us got, where Adam Driver is gesturing towards Baby Annette, singing Baby Annette.
Yes.
And I got more than one DM saying, please stop posting this creepy doll. I don't know what this is. You have to get this off your Instagram right now. This is creepy. I do not like creepy dolls.
I'm liking and subscribing if I'm seeing that personally.
Not be the devil from Goosebumps, okay? Like you rather have that instead.
I think it's interesting the way it's used too, though. Like there's a sort of logistical use of it because we cover a span of time where the baby grows up to be a toddler or whatever. So having the puppet makes that a little easier than having like 4 different actors. But also like it becomes thematic and the doll gets discarded at the end to become a real human being because she was being exploited. And there's a whole thing about, you know, the conductor saying, is this exploitation or whatever, you know? And it just looks so cool because they lean into the artificiality of it and you see the joints and everything. And it's, I don't know if there's any behind the scenes stuff, like how are they doing this? Was it a mixture of marionetting and it seemed like the face at least was animatronic? I don't know.
Yeah, there was like a 3-person team, I think, or something that was, it was controlling the puppet. Never look at the comments. Never look at the private chat, Conan. There was like, well, and in the Carax video essay, semi-auto biopic, etc. It shows spoiler alert for like something that's impossible to be spoiled. The end credits, it's Baby Annette and the team that animates Baby Annette doing the Malvoy saying Modern Love Run. So it's taking, I can't remember if I said this there or not. Maybe I did already. Maybe it was beforehand. Apologies if I'm repeating myself. I hate repeating myself. That it's taking the two things that Carax, if people know him, it's the visual of the puppet Baby Annette and that running scene with the Denis robot, and putting them together in a way that's like, that's badass. you get to see like the people that you obviously don't see it in the movie, making the puppet move and dance and jump and shot for shot, movement for movement, do the things from that movie. So I mean, I don't know, but it's amazing. Did you see a thing, Forrest, on that or something that on the Baby?
So I saw there was a Reddit thing that I didn't end up like fully reading it, but I sent a Reddit thing where they talked to the puppeteers behind the Baby Annette puppet.
Yeah,
but there was another thing where I was watching Leo Carax talk about how hard it is to cast for him. He's not very good at it, I guess. He feels like if he goes out looking for a certain specific kind of person or a specific description, he never gets the kind of person. So he was like, the hardest thing in the world for me to have to do would have been to cast like a child. I'm looking for a 5-year-old child that I could get to pretend to sing. Like I'm not doing that.
I mean, if this was a movie take place in 1930s, it probably would have got Shirley Temple.
Yeah,
but there's like I love the line where he's like, Baby Annette is just a baby. They're like,
when she's not.
Whatever happened to Baby Annette? You know, I love that sequel.
Where's that crossover? Whatever happened to Baby Jane? Both Baby Annette.
Like all of these blog posts are like, "Where's Baby Annette now?" And it's like. But there's the thing where during that last song, she says her parents are basically using her for their own ends. And when she's asking, like, should I forgive you guys for both having an agenda and using me for that? Because the mom's literally haunting through her, and the dad is like, exploiting her. And that, like, it is like I mean, I don't know if they thought about
Parents
that.
Parents of the year, am I right?
Oh, that kind of like a puppet, like you're puppeting your child around pretty much. But
it is very Pinocchio in that way.
Yeah,
the guy that's only seen Pinocchio is so validated right now.
That's right. He saw the right one thing.
I told him it's just like Pinocchio, and everyone said you've only seen Pinocchio, and I said that might be true, but it's not wrong.
Well, look at what happens to Pinocchio. He is a being created out of love, yes, but projected all of his dad's personal shit onto the block of wood.
That's
then he
what I've been saying. You guys like that.
You're right. No, I'm totally with it. I was thinking about this all movie the other day.
When I watched this movie the first time, I'm like, oh my god, this is like Pinocchio, but woke. You know, like women, Pinocchio, like
Pinocchio. This is crazily enough the second woke Pinocchio movie in
Jiminy Cricket's like, Pinocchio, don't say the N-word. Don't say the N-word, Pinocchio.
Freedom of speech.
Wouldn't be very woke, Pinocchio.
I'm a real girl.
Every time I get a cricket downstairs that just hangs around, I'm like, are you gonna lecture me?
Oh, dude. We had a cricket in the house, and we many Jiminy Cricket jokes made as the cricket tried to get his sex on while we were trying to watch something. It was very clear and quiet. I was like, God damn it, shut up. There's no crickets for you to bone in here, man.
Pinocchio, help me get laid.
All right. I think it's a great classic after-party material. Yes, indeed. I think it's a great choice. I think that we do love practical effects in this show. We're very brave to say so. I love to see it, and I think it's
there's another moment where it's like it's not a puppet. It's like a baby. I don't know. It's like almost like a plastic baby, but he has a clown nose on it, and it's like
when it's first born.
Right. It's like the dream. Yeah. But it's like that weird kind of the actual dream, not the feels like a dream. Sequence.
Sorry, I mean, just the visuals throughout this whole thing. Kev, you were talking about that moment that we both took the screenshot of. The lighting in that and really through the whole thing, there's so many beautiful shots. And like when they're on the water and they have the sort of video screen backdrop and the practical boat that's moving with the water, and like just there's so many things that are like they're done sort of artificially, like you could tell they're on sets, but they're so beautiful and so expressionistic, and it's really just visually the whole movie is like unbelievable.
The production design is
unbelievable,
just insane.
Amazing.
It is though. I mean, it's super well done, and it's something where I think like even if you think like the narrative, as charitably will say not for you or whatever, like you do indeed have to hand it to them. Like it looks incredible, and the parts that, again, third Night of the Hunter reference, but in that way that it looks like a stage play somehow, but like intentionally so it gives that kind of weird, eerie, unearthly effect that because of the emotionality of it is working, it somehow makes it even creepier. Great. I mean, that's awesome. Like you literally see projected waves behind the boat at one point, and it so totally works, and you feel the actual danger. And there's something to be said for that, I think.
There's also we didn't talk about, after they're on the boat and there's the scene in the moonlight where she's like, I'm gonna haunt you. And they're sitting on the rocks, and there's that set that they're on the rocks, and Annette's in front of him, and he's lying down on the beach, and then that's when he like passes out, and she's like, I'm gonna haunt you, Henry. And that whole sequence is like really, that felt like Night of the Hunter too. Like the moon in the sky kind of being they kind of manufactured that, and like the beach around them, so it's like effects, it gives an effects driven kind of set. Like it's I don't know, it felt very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what else is interesting is Letterboxd, of course, which is a social media site for film lovers to talk out with and to each other about the movies that they love, maybe the movies they didn't love. Boy, do they like talking about the movies they didn't love sometime. Am I right, folks? And of course, it's a bottom-up democracy. Everyone gets to have their say, not just the skulls and ears of the world. Everyone gets to chime and opine. Everyone gets to weigh in. These are best expressed for the purposes of this bit succinctly, where weekly I collect them and put them on screen for Forrest and the rest of the panel to react to, laugh at, with, for, puzzle at, etc., ad infinitum. That's what this bit is. These are the Letterboxd one-liners for Annette. Let's roll them. Adam Driver as Evil Bo Burnham.
I was telling you that thing where I was like, I understood that reference.
Really is.
He is like Evil Bo Burnham. He's deconstructing comedy in an angry misogynist way.
Hey, that wasn't. Oh, go ahead.
What if Bo Burnham is the evil Bo Burnham, though? Have we? Are we ignoring that possibility?
I've been saying this for 20 years.
So. What if Bo Burnham's the evil Henry McHenry?
Whoa.
What's funny is I saw Bo Burnham the special, the COVID special he did, like whatever that was. That's when I first saw him. I didn't know who he was.
Oh yeah.
Before that.
I remember.
Inside,
he was like a kid with like a keyboard that did kind of beats, and he was just hanging out and he was rapping over the beats in his room.
Yeah,
I remember back then. It's pretty good. Have you guys heard of this guy, Bo Burnham? He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Also
Bo
very
Burnham.
Tall.
Oh yeah.
He and Adam Driver should have to fight. They're like the Antichrist.
That I want to see. I'm
Because
gonna
they're
break
both
the
tall.
keyboard.
Yeah.
This is very good.
How dare you be tall?
How
The Don't
dare
Get
you,
Married
sir.
to Adam Driver. The Don't Get Married to Adam Driver cinematic universe.
No shit. How many movies? Like, don't. I mean, yeah.
I'm trying to imagine, is there a person with worse luck than a person who doesn't really love movies but thirst watches Adam Driver movies? Like, it's either weird, esoteric, artsy stuff or 65, right?
Wait.
God.
I love Megalopolis. What are you talking about?
No,
I
love
also
Megalopolis, too.
I passionately love Megalopolis. I feel like people who are wrong are acting, and they're not acting very well. I love Megalopolis.
Exactly. Thank you.
Still haven't seen
You
it.
get it. You have Twitter. Enough. Megalopolis rules.
Some of the performances were a little wooden. Boom.
All right.
I get it.
Calm down, Henry McHenry.
Yeah, calm down. Settle down. Adam Driver eats pussy and commits crimes. Literally, what else could you want?
Yeah. Eat
True,
much
we didn't
pussy.
talk
I
about that.
mean,
Yeah.
How did dude? That's how crazy this movie is. We did not even once bring that up.
In the middle of a Spark song, respectfully, me and who? Anyway.
I don't know. They're like at one point, like I feel like it's every Leo Carax movie, but they just start going at it. and they're like on screen, and it's like, oh, okay, like I guess.
Yeah, he does like showing that too.
Yeah.
Respect.
Look, we need to have him eat a little pussy.
And it's usually with Denis Lavant, but in this case, it's Adam Driver. So,
Yeah,
and the most beautiful woman you've ever seen.
I don't love it when it's Denis Lavant. At least not when he's covered in dirt from head to toe, and he's like trying to finger her, and she's like, not now, and it's like, please, not ever.
Damn, light him up. Oh. All right. Honestly, the most shocking part of this whole movie was there's 10 seconds where Adam Driver started rapping.
He does. He's like what? What are you doing in your frontal cortex? Blah, 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 and then I didn't even process that until I read the one-liners and then watched it again. But it's like the Beast Boys sound. He has like the robotic but he's like doing that voice. He's like, yeah, he like goes inside of your frontal cortex, blah blah blah. That's what he says. That's what he says. That you've never noticed. When I ask you if you ever don't notice, and you're like, I never really noticed, or whatever. He's like, yeah, not well. That part, that line happens right after he raps.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. So you're a Baby Annette fan? Okay, then name 2 of her arias.
One of them's the Forrest aria, and I know that because it's Forrest.
Forrest mentioned. Narc ass baby.
I mean, that's true.
We didn't talk about that either. Her final performance, she just goes, "Daddy killed people."
Yeah, that
was a bold decision. People. He kills the 2 people that are nicest to her. So I guess I forgive you, Baby Annette, for being a narc. Her dad's not very nice to her.
I see no reason to not put all of these things into one movie.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically an Adam Driver movie in a nutshell.
You know what we didn't do? Since there's a puppet, there's one puppet. You have to do the everyone's the same in a movie except there's a baby.
Oh yeah. Replace everybody in a movie with a Muppet except for one person. Yeah.
But it's the opposite of that, because in this movie there's just one person that's a puppet.
Yeah.
That suddenly appears. So you have to do the flip side of replace everyone in the movie except one person.
You could do that with any Adam Driver movie though. You could just replace them all,
Yeah.
Marriage Story, but everyone's a Muppet. The more serious the better.
Marriage Story, but everyone's a Muppet except Adam Driver.
Except Adam Driver, who's still Adam Driver.
So but then when he punches the wall, the Muppets have to do the thing where it's like, when the Muppets draw back, they're like scared.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's good. Baby Annette should be in more movies. I agree.
Fully agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the one thing Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning was missing.
Baby Annette. That was the one thing could have really taken it to the next level. Yeah, absolutely. Avatar with Baby Annette. Yeah.
Those clickbait articles that are like the untold, like the sad untold story of blah blah blah. They always have like those clickbait articles, the sad untold story of Baby Annette.
Oh, wait, it's just like, she got strung out and yeah. Anyway, those are Letterboxd one-liners for Annette. Please follow the show on our Letterboxd HQ account at Movie Night Extra, where we have stories of all the great movies that we cover on here, along with attended short form content, write-ups, things along those lines. And please follow along for the Movie Night Extra account at Always Flocka over there. Why did I become a comedian? Well, so you can be on stream. With the microphone it works sometimes.
He still doesn't answer the question.
He really didn't. No, it's true. You can follow him at Always Flocko. He's logging stuff that we do in this show and so much more. Great follow. Conan Neutron is just a baby after all. That's me at Conan Neutron. You can follow me for the Highbrow, Midbrow, Populous Fair. Follow me along for the Criterion Challenge. Almost done. 6 left. And I will. We'll see. I might try to pull something off with the Borny. We'll see. I'm doing very poorly at it, frankly.
No, same here. Trust me.
It reminds me of my mortality every time I'm like, oh my
God,
I'm so much older than everybody else. Anyway, whatever. I'll save for the therapy session. Follow me at Conan Neutron. You Raise Me Up. That's a TikTok reference, I guess, right? So
wait. No, it's You Raise Me Up.
Okay. There it is. Adam, Kristina Oakes over there. You can follow her on Letterboxd, where she logs stuff that is we do in the show, as well as so much other. Kev, feeling like Sinatra. Well, I'm way off there. It's over down this way. Okay, so visual things never really works. You can follow him. I think it's just at Kev, right? You must have been a really early adopter for that.
I'm certainly an adopter of follow me. The best way to follow me online, if you do not know me already, is at Kev on Letterboxd. And also obviously Austin Danger podcast every Monday.
We'll get to that on the plugs coming up. It doesn't make sense how we do this. It just evolved naturally, just like that. Really, we were having brainstorming sessions, and we're like, oh yeah, why don't we just have like a montage of them flying around? Okay, great.
Anyway, at Kev on
Amazing.
Scott is accused by 6 women,
and I'm not one of those.
And there's the clip for the show.
Why now?
His Letterboxd account is just his name, just like me, Scott Interrante, and you can follow him as well. We'll link to it in the show notes, all that stuff. Let's hit it with the plugs and close it out with final thoughts.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and then hit the bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. And we'd humbly request that you watch the video to the end, because it helps us with the algorithm and helps more film fans to discover the show. We're also monetized. If you want to get your chat questions definitely read on stream, you can always send us a super chat, which will help us keep the show going. Every cent helps. If you're watching on Twitch, you can gift us a free sub on Amazon Prime with your Prime membership, but getting subs on Twitch is always appreciated, and it helps to follow us on there as well. We also have an audio feed, which is available wherever you download podcasts, if you prefer to listen to podcasts rather than watch the stream. That's updated usually the same day we stream, but watching on YouTube and Twitch is the best way to get the show first, live as it happens. If you want to support us with a monthly donation and get access to all of our after parties forever, which go patron only after we do them, you can become a patron at patreon.com/movie night extra. Link is in the description for that. It really helps us keep the show going since we do have some expenses to make this happen. We also have a Discord community. Link is in the description for that. We sometimes watch movies we cover on there. We get into conversations about everything from film to TV shows to related podcasts. We even have a Discord channel for memes. It's really fun on there. You can find us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads. You connect with us on all of those. Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. Lastly, we recently made a TikTok at Movie Night Extra where we're putting up short form clips from the episodes. Okay, passing this to Conan so he can tell you about his music and this week's Protonic Reversal. Conan, who's on Protonic this week?
Yes. Steve Chulpana of Season to Risk coming up. And of course, in the now in the general feed, we have Daniel House, who just started a podcast called Creative Asylum. You might know from the band Skinyard, as well as CZ Records. Very interesting fella. His podcast just launched, and his episode on Protonic is now out in the general feed, still in the Patreon feed at the time of this recording. Right now is Tim Midyett of Silkworm. Silkworm are doing a grip of reunion shows, I think like 5 or 6 of them, something I never expected to be able to say, but it's a cool episode. That's in the Patreon queue, patreon.com/Protonic Reversal, $1 a month for advanced access. Please sign up if that's your kind of thing. 2 or 3 really cool things. We'll see what I can get done before tour. Speaking of tour, Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends on tour yet again. Chicago, Minneapolis, Lincoln, Denver, Salt Lake City, Boise, Eugene, Portland, and Rat City Recon in Seattle with Piss Jeans and Helmsley and so many great bands. It's going to be so amazing. It's at Roller Rink. It's a really fantastic event. And then in November, Kansas City, Jackson, Atlanta, New Orleans, Austin, Denton, Wichita, Santa Fe, and Phoenix, or Tempe. I don't remember. Somewhere in Maricopa County. That for that leg, which is right before Thanksgiving, and then December 5th, my birthday with Mike Watt in Los Angeles. Mike Watt, the legendary Minutemen. So
wow,
I'm pretty hyped on that because I have not got to have a birthday show in many years, and I get to have a birthday show with someone that is incredibly influential to me. So that's I don't take that lightly. neutronfriends.bandcamp.com, where the Neutron's still available, LP, CD, all digital forms. We have re-ups of the Rick Froberg design t-shirt, as well as the Death is Coming, Eat Trash, Be Free Raccoon shirt, as well as everything else. So come find that on there. Always available for mail order. I think that's it. I went on 2 shows. I don't know when any of that stuff's airing though. So let's just pretend like I didn't say anything. Kristina, what do you got?
Well, I'm still streaming and doing my show on this space. We went over the cure and treatments for autism.
Dying.
Yeah. And we cover the fact that Earl Musk is a piece of shit child molester, which honestly does not surprise anyone.
Not really.
Still doing Shadow Saturdays. I think we're kind of like in the last year of Dark Shadows now. So that's, can't wait.
Finally, you're finally in the last year of Dark Shadows. It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Yeah, since last year.
Christina's been, you guys know the show Dark Shadows, right?
Yeah.
She's been streaming episodes of the show like weekly for what seems like decades.
A year. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be starting a Dark Shadows podcast too.
You should. You're basically the subject matter expert on the show. I mean,
yeah,
who
Morning
else?
in Collinwood. We're in the parallel timeline. They're currently, Barnabas is locked up in a coffin because he's still a vampire. But right now, in the timeline, he's actually filming the first Dark Shadows movie that Dan Curtis produced. So some characters are coming and going and whatever. But yeah, also I just watched a film I hadn't seen in forever, and I remember why. Bastard Out of Carolina. Angelica Houston directed it, starring Jenna Malone and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Very, very hard film to watch. It's basically based on a true story. It's a girl who grew up in South Carolina in the 50s. She's physically and sexually abused by her stepfather. I mean, they even show a rape scene. It's like everyone kept the one letterbox reviews I kept seeing. Is Jenna Malone okay? Is she okay? Because someone asked if Jenna Malone's okay. She said nothing about like the making of that movie, but she did say that during the Hunger Games she was actually assaulted. So I think she's okay from doing that film from her childhood. I don't know, but it's you can find it on YouTube. I highly recommend reading the novel. It's really good. I'm probably gonna be streaming after our after party. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. But yeah, and I probably will be doing like a 24-hour subathon for September to get some subs.
Clever.
Because my birthday is next month, and I want a nice payout.
That was your payout. I was paying you in sound effects.
There you go. Thanks.
Can I pay you an experience?
Can you imagine Michael Winslow showing up? Oh, can I pay you in mouth sounds? No, sir, that's not legal tender.
Bitcoin, crypto.
I mean, I'd love that. I'd love Michael Winslow to come back. I think his brand of comedy is where it all peaked. Where I was like,
come out next week, Michael Winslow. Coming out for Witches Month. It was his choice. I don't know. Anything else, Kristina?
No, that's it.
Okay, that's fine. Scott, what do you got?
Oh yeah, well, thanks so much for having me. This was a ton of fun. Yeah, like you mentioned,
people pick the first movie. This one, I was like, no, you like Annette. You should come on.
Oh no, and you were right. But yeah, so I've been doing a new podcast called Big White Elephants, where we talk about movie musicals. This week, our episode is on Hedwig and the Angry Inch, so you can find that. It'll drop on Thursday.
I need to get on this movie musical podcast.
Oh, we would love to have you. Yeah. I also do a podcast called This is the Greatest Song I've Ever Heard in My Entire Life, where I talk to people about their favorite songs. And, we do that occasionally, sometimes still too. And that's it. You can find me on the internet at my name.
Kev, you're up.
Yes. Hello. So obviously, kind of the key way to find me on the internet is either at my Letterboxd at Kev or via Austin Danger Podcast. In the intro, I thought it was funny, Forrest, you were talking about how you guys don't have many musicals you've covered on the show because there aren't many that you all like and agree to talk about on the podcast.
I'm trying to fix that, okay?
No one screws that up, I guess.
No. But what I'm saying is, on Austin Danger Podcast, we don't pick the movies. It's a giant wheel that we spin of movies that are connected to the Austin Powers trilogy. Next week, huge week, we're doing Anchorman, finally.
Hell yeah.
Hey, our friend Adam McKay directed
friend of the show,
movie.
Adam McKay directed that movie.
No
right?
kidding.
Yeah,
he's been on this, right?
He's been on this.
What?
Great. Yeah. That's very true. I know.
He followed me back on Twitter, and I was like, you know what? Let me shoot my shot. When he still had Twitter, and he's like, yeah, sure, it'd be fun. Here's my email. And
he had a great time. There was probably a good solid 5 minutes, just me and him nerding out about noise rock music, which was very weird.
Incredible. That's
yeah,
incredible.
I think he invited himself on to talk about Annette Scaberia, right? I mean, like, we haven't followed up on that, but
I don't know why we have to follow up on that, and we're gonna follow up on Sam Cedar.
Yeah.
Oh man, crazy. So
anyway,
all this to say,
Anchorman, amazing. Also featuring Mackenzie, who has been on this very show a couple times. We love Mackenzie.
She's been on like 3 times by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And and then the week after that, we're doing Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, because occasionally we'll do new movies. And then spooky stuff throughout the month of October. TBA, I am advocating for 3 contemporary films about trauma. We'll see how that goes.
Oh man!
I also want to note there was
million.
Hey, Bastard Out of Carolina is a good movie about trauma.
I'll say they were about trauma.
Yes,
through the lens of one particular popular contemporary actress. I also want to note there was a YouTube super chat earlier about the Sparks appearance in the movie Roller Coaster.
Right.
They were there to perform a song called Big Boy. It was their single off the album Big Beat from 1976.
Okay.
That performance of Big Boy, I have to tell you, they are probably still in the theme park performing it right now. Probably let it loop while they were working on Annette. I felt so bad for them because they were so miscast, and there was no opportunity to bring it up in the discussion. So,
that's sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to use your final thoughts to bring in the weirdest possible banal minutiae. I do it all the time.
Yeah. Awesome 70s disaster movie full of men in rooms talking, but Sparks is it's not a good culture fit. Do you get me? Letterboxd /Kev, Awesome Nature Podcast. Watch those spaces for announcements on future projects unannounced, and peace and love, and be good to each other.
There you go.
All right, sounds good. By the way, Anchorman holds up. I watched it. I watched it like within the last year at least, and like I was like surprised because like I remember the jokes kind of being a bit jocular, but it was like, you know what? I actually think this holds up.
Yep,
you're very brave to say it, but yeah, it does. Yeah, I agree. It's a good movie. We have a weird, like, the comedies we cover are like kind of, I don't know. We're not very consistent about it. I would do Anchorman in a second, just so we know. Just be on.
Yeah.
Let the record show ... Mm-hmm. Correct the record. Anyway,
I was thinking about Anchorman last night actually, because like there was like remember that thing from Sinclair, the news thing where it's everybody saying the same exact line. I was thinking about when they actually just have the teleprompter and Ron Burgundy is like in front of it, and they just keep adding stuff to it, and he's like has whatever's on the teleprompter.
Yep.
But Kev, final thoughts on this movie?
Yeah. Whoa. Hi. Okay. Hello. I absolutely love Annette. I liked it at first. I felt, I had just been getting into Sparks. I was like, do I love it? I didn't know, but watching it again with Scott the other day cemented it as one of the all-time greats of the decade for me. It's not for everybody, but it is for me, which so many of my favorite movies, I could say that. So, this is more successful than many of those. So, it was easy peasy for me.
Well, the Adam Driver of it all. Scott, do you have final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I think it's bold and audacious and weird, and that's the sort of first impression which appeals to me, but on rewatch, and I suspect even more on future rewatches, just really appreciating the tenderness of the love story and these complicated characters that are stuck in it, and the destructive things that they do around it, I find to be very moving and beautiful and sad, and some cool music. So it's a 5-star movie for me.
And what do you have to say to those 6 women that have accused you?
I have done nothing. I regret nothing. I make no apologies.
Kristina, final thoughts.
I love movie musicals.
Does that include this one?
If you're looking for something that's different, then this is it. Also, if you're like, I love Adam Driver, awesome. Kenny sang, it's kind of giving Gerard Butler, Russell Crowe, but it's still, you could tell they worked around his lack of vocal skills. So yeah.
Well, what I would back the second part of that question of is do you want to sing while he's giving cunnilingus?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be singing if he's giving me cunnilingus. I'm just saying, let's be real here.
I like someone going, I love Adam Driver. I just wish he had a wooden daughter.
That would be the specific niche complaint. Yeah, it's good.
They're like, well, I have a movie for you, Conan.
Oh, okay. That's what I got to follow, huh? Okay. All right. Well, yeah, as mentioned, unique, audacious. It's a wonderful piece of modern off-kilter cinema. It's an actual opera, and it's a great melding of creativity by a wonderful director, Leos Carax and Sparks. I think there's a lot of moving, complex, fascinating things that happen in here. It certainly has one of the great starting sequences songs in any movie with So May We Start, robbed for not only winning the Oscar, but actually being nominated for the Oscar, in my humble opinion. The production design, as mentioned, is lush and otherworldly, straight out of a children's fairy tale or novel, something along those lines. Totally get why it's a miss for some people. It's a hit for me. I agree with both Scott and Kev. 5 stars, love it. I wish most movies were half as bold as this movie is. And it's been really cool going through and seeing his other movies and coming back to this movie that I loved when I saw, and kind of getting a better handle on the complicated cinematic approaches, but the open-hearted romanticism really comes through. And I think this movie rewards multiple viewings and thoughtful rumination, just like this show.
Thoughtful rumination is the name of Henry McHenry's first comedy album.
Exactly. That's before Ape of Man. It's the early stuff. You haven't heard it.
But we're gonna go over to the after party in a few minutes here. I just want to say this is our last movie we're doing before we start Witches.
Which witches will witch? We will find out together.
Starting next week with Bell Books and Candle, which I keep wanting to call Bell Hooks and Candle.
With Eileen Jones. Eileen Jones coming out for that.
But we're from then till the end of October, it's all witch movies. We're going to be talking about it in the after party. We're going to tell you which witch is which movie. That's
right, and including which one we're going to end on, which will be actual Halloween. And here's a hint: it came out this year.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I'll see. We will see.
And it might get a prequel about a certain character that got popular.
I think I know which movie
now that's
you're talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say now you're making it a lot easier by saying that, but yeah, should be a good time.
Who knows if they'll have the same actor play that character?
That's what I'm saying. If it's Anna Taylor-Joy, I'm gonna be annoyed. But there will be a movie with Anna Taylor-Joy in the mix for.
Well, now we all know which movie that. No? Furiosa.
That one.
All right, see you guys over there.
Thanks so much for being on the show. Appreciate you guys.